Hey guys, Adam here, Car72, quick check-in video on the channel today. I'm on my way back from Dominion Raceway in Spotsylvania, Virginia. It's like an hour north of Richmond. It's kind of halfway between Richmond and DC. I did a SCCA Track Night in America there. I did two of them a few years ago. I mean, it's like 135 bucks if you're a member, which I am. It's like $160 minus a $25 coupon they give everybody, so $135 plus I buy insurance. That's like $180, but that's pretty cheap track time. It's about an hour of track time, and Dominion's like a really small track, but it's people trash Dominion. I always have fun there. I think it's a fun track. People are worried about there's some Jersey type walls at one spot, but that's a spot on the track you typically probably wouldn't ever go off. I don't know. I've never had trouble with it. And a lot of people trash the SCCA Track Night in America. It's fine, like totally safe. We had no drama. I never felt like uncomfortable in the run group. I was running advanced, which probably was closer to like in a true HPDE, probably more like an intermediate group, but that's fine. It was great. Mix of cars, some race cars, you know, track cars that get trailered, dailies like mine. Had a great time. Knocked 3 seconds off my PB. So thank you, Vitour Tempesta P1. So those tires are really grippy. I'll take some pictures here later in the video of them, but the wear looked great. I'm rotating them. I've done 2 autocrosses in a track day. They're fine. They look really worn evenly. Car ran strong. The challenge I had was heat. It was in the low 80s today, and I actually basically overheated it the first session. After that, I started getting smart and running the heater, which works in this car to it just takes enough heat out to run hard and do a lot of hot laps. So again, you know, it's the struggle of a daily driven turbo car with a bunch of horsepower. They run hot. So, you know, I keep considering getting an oil cooler. I just hate it just adds complexity to a system, and it's not going to heat up as fast for daily use in the winter, which concerns me. But and I don't really do that many hot events anyway. So, you know, the shoulder season, like March, November, I don't need it. So car ran great. Like I said, knocked 3 seconds off a PB. I haven't looked at my Garmin yet. I'll have to look and see where I probably have a second there. It'll probably tell me my optimal is like a 137 or something, or whatever the hell it is. So, or 136, which I think is pretty respectable in this station wagon. So yeah, had fun. I think the SCCA runs a nice little event. It's just kind of more casual than a typical HPDE. It looked like, I'm in the advanced group, so there's really, you get a quick meeting about, hey, everybody, look, here's where the point buys, here's how it generally works, and you're off on your own because they assume you know what you're doing. The beginner group is the one that seems to take some flack because you don't have in-car instruction. And I agree with people, like, if you really want to do this, in-car instruction is really better. But the SCCA seems to have a way to do this that works. They have like a big meeting after every session. They have a coach. They do lead follow to show you the line at first. They watch. I don't know. It seemed like I talked to a couple guys, younger guys that had just done it, and they were like absolutely thrilled. So if that's what it takes to get you on track at a lower cost, I think it's a great program. It's just not the end all if you really want to track your car a lot. I think you know, if you do want and have fun, you probably ought to go grab a real one, you know, with an in-car instructor. But I talked to a fella in a GTI, guy probably my age, a little older, and he uses these events to try different tracks. Like, he's been all over on the East Coast doing Track Night in America just because it's a cheap way to drive tracks. So anyway, I'm a fan. I know not everybody is, but a lot of those people haven't actually done these events. I've heard, oh my God, it's a shit show. I've never seen it. I mean, people go off the track at every HPDE I've ever been to, and people bin cars and wreck them. So I don't think anybody wrecked their car tonight. I think there were a couple. A Miata went off, and there was a black flag, and we had to come in while they got him out of the grass. I mean, when does that not happen at an HPDE? And a guy went off and saved it and didn't hit a wall. Again, I guess I've been to enough of these to see all kind of stuff. So I had no issues. I didn't think it's unsafe. In fact, I've been pretty impressed with the ones I've done. Anyway, that's it. Tires work great. Car worked great, except for the heat. Oh, and I just ran what I use for street pads, which is really kind of a hybrid track street pad. It's the ones that I bought from APR that went with this big brake kit. They're like, I think they call it Advanced Street Entry-Level Track, which just is code for just hybrid pad, like a DS2500 or something. They worked okay. They're not, I don't know, they didn't look overly worn. The rotors, Dominion's pretty, you use your brakes a lot, and you don't get a lot of cool down between brake zones. Like, VIR is actually not hard on brakes because there's only like 3 really heavy brake zones, and they're really spaced out. Here, there's a lot really close, so the brakes get super hot. The endless 650 fluid and the APR pads were fine. Like, no sense in changing them out. They probably wore a little faster, but I don't know. Car went fine. So anyway, I'll take some video with the tires and a few other things, but definitely a successful track night in America. All right, some kind of update commentary on the 034 Motorsport Street Sport mounts, kind of their big boy mounts, or big girl mounts. So, all right, so I've had these things on, I don't know, when I did that video, month and a half or something. I probably put, I don't know, 1,000+ miles on the car, at least 3 or 4 highway trips, a track day and 2, 1 autocross, a track day, and like maybe 3 or 4 road trips. So they absolutely break in, just like 034 says. They're not as buzzy. The NVH is lower than the first. When I first started my car after installing them, I thought I was gonna have to take them off. I was like, holy shit. I will say that I had a similar feeling actually when I used their density line, their kind of OE mounts that are a little firmer. I remember firing it up thinking, whoa, that's a little buzzy. But I mean, look, I think the biggest thing I notice, there is some DXL, like engine braking vibration. So like you let off the gas occasionally in 5th, 6th gear, it'll be like, it's a little buzzy when you're idling with the AC on. It's not bad. I'm glad I got them, put it that way. Would I do this if I was commuting hundreds of miles all the time every day? Probably not, if I was in traffic, but I wouldn't be probably driving this car anyway. I'd probably have something else. So they're thumbs up on the 034 mounts. They're awesome. Just checking when I left Dominion. So I'm a little down, you know, I'm really into the kind of oil monitoring thing. So I definitely used a little bit of oil, maybe a quarter quart, I'm not sure. That's kind of what I feel like I use every day I'm on the track. Even autocross uses a little, which is quite normal. The catch can had oil in it. Not a lot. It had caught, I think since I did the 2 autocrosses and several, you know, thousands of miles of driving, it had a little bit in it. There's a little more now from the track, which is to be expected, but it's not bad. I don't have smoke. The Mark 8 Radium hybrid bastardized thing I'm doing works great. I'm curious if the DSG can has anything in it. I have not gotten a drop in that since installing it last year, after VIR, after autocrosses, all this stuff. So I think that might be the tubing itself that give you is big enough to probably take the little bit of load of fluid that burps up, as my guess. But catch can had some oil. This video will keep going when I get home tomorrow, and I'll take some pictures and video of the can fluid, the oil. So I've gone over tires, mounts, the can. Another thing I'll talk about, I'll show, is my helmet setup with the comms for the Garmin. I had this big giant rig thing on the side of it because I couldn't figure out how to get all the cables and shit up in it, but I figured out a way. I saw just 3 a.m. doom scrolling one night. I saw some picture of a guy's with the TrackCom chaser on the outside, and that was it. And I'm like, how the hell did he get all that crap up in there? I figured out a way. It fits fine. It was much less garbage hanging out on the side, which was nice. It continues to work fine. I can hear the race coach. I didn't really find a lot of value in it at Dominion. A little bit maybe once at the 3rd session, I felt like I was comfortable enough that I was like, okay, the AI coach, the lady is saying, you know, do this or this. Okay, I'm gonna try that every lap. And maybe that's how I got my PB, I don't know. But we'll add some video here and show you that. That was something kind of new. That's it. All right, guys. Like I said, when I was driving, I do some follow-up stuff here. Lots to kind of I got a sticky note. I love those. Got a little laundry list of things we can talk about. Okay, let's do the tires first. All right, so the Vitour Tempesta P1s right here. Rear, so left rear, left front, right rear, left rear, left front, right rear. They're really evenly worn. This is 2 autocrosses in 1 track day, and the track night in America is really probably less time than a typical track day. But look, the wear is super even. The edge wear is good. So you can see the fronts. I mean, I have like negative 2.7 degrees of camber. So I have some edge wear, but it's not obnoxious, and it doesn't go below the line. So that's fine. In the rear, you can still read water razor technology. So the rears didn't wear quite as much. I think my rear is negative 1.7 camber. You can see the OPM, other people's rubber on the rears, which is pretty typical. But other than that, the tires look great. Another thing to mention is I had ceramic coated these with the Adams Graphene Advanced kit that my son did for me. It absolutely works. Like, I basically could just dust them off, and the brake dust just like almost falls off of it. I'll wash them, but man, that worked great. So these tires are awesome. All right, let's see what's next on the old sticky note list. We talked about tire ceramic. Okay, helmet. So I have another video you can probably find on my channel. I had all this gear, this helmet comm stuff attached to the outside of my helmet. Now I just have my track comm chaser and the converter to what's called IMSA connector. And I tucked everything else inside the helmet. It had all this like coiled up cord and business. It works. It's all back here. At first, I kind of could feel it on the back of my head, but I feel like it kind of worked its way down and in, so it's perfect now. So this is a much nicer, neater setup on my Zamp helmet. Oh, catch can. Okay. PCV Mark 8 catch can system I have, where you can, again, find videos on my channel with all that. This is it. That is all the oil I've gotten over couple thousand road miles, 2 autocrosses, and a track day. It's probably a half an ounce at most, using just imperial measurements. It's hardly anything. It's just oil. It smells a little fuel-like, and that's pretty common, but I mean, that's nothing. So there's a win on that. This just kept this out of my intercooler, really. The DSG catch can still continues to have nothing in it, so I think that's good. Oh, okay, and I think I talked about it in the video driving. The mounts, 034 mounts, thumbs up, really like them. Let's talk about this toolkit. I don't remember if I've talked about this. This would be the Harbor Freight 301. It's 301 tools, I guess, which a chunk of them are pretty useless. Like, I basically took this toolkit and removed all the SAE stuff. I'm never going to use it when I'm at the track. Nothing's going to take SAE. So when you take all that out and you add a few bits, like I added some picks, so, lug nut socket, 17 mil, some adapters for my gun, a small pair of needle nose, vice grips. Let's see what else is in here. A couple wrenches it didn't come with, an adapter it didn't come with. Pair of channel locks. Look, I just kind of, as I go, as I need things, I add them, but it's a good basic kit. I got this for 150 bucks at Harbor Freight after Christmas with a 50% off coupon. I probably wouldn't pay full price for it, but it's an awesome kit. And in fact, last night, a couple young guys came up to me with some Volkswagens, and a guy's belly pan had fallen off. Hey, sir, do you have any tools? Why, yes. And they took this and fixed their car. So happy to help people. It's good for me. It's good for others. This is a really easy kit. I just throw it under my workbench. When I go to the track, I toss it in the car. It has everything I need, and then I'm not scavenging tools from my toolbox. So I'm real happy with this. It's come in handy multiple times at this point. Temperature. Look, this car runs hot. I was running, oil is going to be 280 degrees in this car when it's in the 80s or 90s outside. In itself, that oil temperature I know some people freak out about it. It's really not a problem. That oil, if it has the European approvals, has a high temperature, high shear value that was derived from a test at over 300 degrees Fahrenheit, you're fine at 280. You don't have to run home and change your oil. It's fine. The issue is at 280 degrees oil temp on these cars, it's going to pass through that heat to the cooling system because there's a heat exchanger. And so it warms the oil up so you can daily drive the car, and that's why your oil comes up to temp so quick. The downside is when the oil gets really hot, it pegs your coolant. So my coolant, when it gets to 240, it starts setting an alarm off in the car. So what I had to do was run the heater. I just basically aimed the vents out I closed this one, I aimed those two and the far one out toward the window, turned the heat on full, and it works. I mean, it keeps the car stable enough to push hard on it. But I mean, it's, you know, when you're running really, really hot, it's not great. And turbo cars just do it. There was a guy with a Veloster N Hyundai beside me. Same thing. We were laughing. We're like 280. It's like a staple of turbocharged 4-cylinder cars that are boosted or tuned. So not much you can do about it on a car like this beyond putting an oil cooler on it and divorcing the oil and the coolant. But then you also start to add complexity and some other things, which I'm not interested in doing yet. But yeah, for sure, these cars run hot, and it is a challenge on the track where you don't get like this Dominion track. You don't ever come. You're always on power, and you're not really ever getting the car going fast enough to really cool it off, like at VIR. Codes. So I have had some issues in the past. I'll come in off the track. There's a couple codes I get. I get one for a wheel sensor in the front, like a low magnetic field, which is probably something to do with the hub, not the. I replaced the ABS sensor. I get it. It's intermittent. It doesn't cause any issues. I don't give a flip. I also have had a code when I come in from really hard driving and I slow down to go in the paddock. I throw a turbo wastegate actuator code. Turbo wastegate actuator problems are really common on these Volkswagens. But what I decided to do before this event was lubricate the flapper mechanism for the wastegate on the turbo. I was able to rig up kind of a straw and work it down behind the turbo. And I didn't get any of those codes this time. Now, knock on wood, maybe that's just a fluke. It's a data point of 1. But I was pretty happy not to see any codes or issues with the car. What else do I have on here? Oh, final comment. So how much does the Track Night in America cost? So the event is $160. If you're not an SCCA member, Sports Car Club of America, which I am, there's my card. You pay like an extra $20, like a one-time license fee or something. So $160 is what I pay. And then what I find online, and they send them out to you when you sign up, $25 off coupon. So $135 is the event. I paid $180 for 1 hour of track insurance. The track insurance is a great deal when you do 2 to 3 days, but on a 1 day, it's the same price, which is kind of strange, but it's just the way the risk assessment, I'm sure, works, the underwriting. It's just, again, it's worth it to me on this car to pay a little extra and make sure if I crash it, I get paid. I do $20,000 at a 10% deductible, so I would get an $18,000 check, which for a car I own, that's probably at least what it's worth. I'll take that. Consumable costs are the big one. So I've worked out for tires, front rotors, front brake pads, rear rotors, and brake fluid. Those are my consumables for track use. I don't consider the maintenance involved in this because I don't really do maintenance any different than I was doing normally, and I get most of it for free from SCP anyway. That works out to about $275 a day. A day meaning probably an hour and a half of track time, maybe a little more than an hour and a half. And so if you look at Track Night in America last night, I probably was on the track 1 hour. So a little less than 275. Call it, I don't know, 250, 225. So all in, I'm over $500 for 1 hour driving on the track. It's expensive, but that's a lot cheaper than if I went to VIR for 2-day HPDE. I would spend over $2,000 because I have to stay there. Plus the events are much more money. Consumable costs are going to be higher. You're going to, $300 a day or whatever I said is now it's twice. So $600. You got to eat. You got to have a place to stay. I'm not going to sleep in a tent at this point in my life or my car. So I get a room and all that stuff. So just letting you know what it costs. But Track Night in America is pretty inexpensive. You know, for most people, they can probably find $500 to go do a track event once a year. Anyway, I think I've probably quickly talked through everything. Yeah, I think that's it, guys. I just need to put away all my crap. And I took the tow hooks off, and my front brakes are a little wonky. I think I'm going to need to bleed my brakes. The pedal did get a little soft at the end, and I'm using the endless fluid, which shouldn't do that, but I think because I was using my kind of non-track pads, I probably passed a lot of heat to that fluid, so probably worth squirting a few pedal pushes out of each caliper at this point before I do any other autocross or track. I'll do that, it's easy. That is all from the KCE. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace.